As the hot afternoon sun beat down on the streets of Turi, Kiya sat in her favorite spot at Sweet Sensations restaurant, stabbing angrily at her jollof rice. Her friend, Juliet, watched with concern as grains of rice flew off the plate. "Kiya, you will break that plate if you continue like that," Juliet said, trying to lighten the mood. "What happened this time?" Kiya dropped her spoon with a clatter and reached for her phone. "Look at what my sister Ukeme sent me this morning." She thrust the phone toward Juliet, who squinted at the screen, showing a WhatsApp message with pictures. The photos showed Ukeme, Kiya's older sister, looking thin and tired, with tears in her eyes. The message read, "Baby sister, Mama Felix, my mother-in-law, threw out the soup I cooked again. She said I'm trying to poison her son. I can't take this anymore." "Oh no, not again," Juliet sighed, handing back the phone. "Your sister's mother-in-law is really something else." "Something else?" Kiya's voice rose, causing other customers to turn and stare. "That woman is a witch, a complete demon. Do you know what else she did? She told all the neighbors that my sister is barren because she did family planning without her son's permission. Imagine, just because Ukeme and Felix agreed to wait a year before having children." Kiya's beautiful face, usually bright with laughter, was clouded with anger. At 23, she was studying accounting at the University of Lagos and was known for her quick wit and infectious smile. But lately, her sister's troubles had changed her. "You know what?" Kiya declared, pointing her spoon like a weapon. "I swear on my father's grave, I will never, and I mean never, marry a man whose mother is still alive. Never!" Juliet choked on her Chapman drink. "Kiya, how can you say such a thing? That's what? Impossible? Harsh? Well, I don't care." Kiya crossed her arms. "Look at my sweet sister. She used to be so happy, so full of life. Now, that woman has turned her into a shadow of herself." "I know, but your words are too harsh. You shouldn't be so quick to take that decision for yourself. You could find a good man and drive him away without giving him a chance, all because his mother is still alive. Mark my words, if his mother is alive, forget it. I will never put myself in the hands of a wicked mother-in-law. Just look at what my sister Ukeme is going through. Never, not me." Just then, Kiya's phone buzzed with another message. It was from Tony, a guy who had been asking her out for weeks. "Speaking of potential mothers-in-law," Kiya muttered, opening the message. "Let me deal with this one." She quickly typed, "Hi Tony, before we continue this conversation, I have one question. Is your mother alive?" Juliet leaned across the table and read the message before Kiya could send it. "Kiya, you can't be serious. You can't ask people that." "Watch me," Kiya replied, hitting send. Within seconds, Tony responded with several confused emojis and, "Yes, why?" "Well, goodbye, Tony," Kiya said cheerfully, typing her response. "Sorry, you're not my type. Have a nice life." "You are impossible," Juliet threw her hands up in exasperation. "So you're going to interview every man about their mother's mortality status? What if you fall in love before asking?" Kiya laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Fall in love? Please, I have a list of questions I ask any man who comes near me. Question number 1, is your mother alive? If the answer is yes, game over. As if to prove her point, Kiya pulled out a small notebook from her designer handbag. She flipped it open to reveal an actual list written in her neat handwriting. Kiya's guide to avoiding mother-in-law trouble. Number 1. Is his mother alive? If yes, run. Does he have sisters? They can be just as bad. Does he live with his family? Independence check. Does he stand up to his family? Backbone check. She showed it to Juliet. See? I'm not taking any chances. True to her words, Kiya didn't take chances. She had watched her older sister, Ukeme, suffer terribly in her marriage because of her cruel and manipulative mother-in-law. Ukeme's once radiant smile had dimmed, her joy smothered by constant insults and impossible demands. Watching her sister endure that misery had cemented Kiya's resolve. She made sure to scrutinize every man who showed interest in her. Is your mother still alive? That was always her first question. If the answer was yes, she would smile sweetly and politely decline the man's advances. You are chasing away potential husbands, Juliet, her friend warned one day after yet another suitor left dejected. Let them go, Kiya said with a laugh. What will I do with a man whose mother is waiting to torment me? No, Juliet, I will enjoy my life, have my fun, but I won't settle until I find someone who is motherless. It's safer that way. I can't have history repeating itself, my dear friend. As if to convince herself that she was making the right decision, Kiya visited her sister Ukeme's home later that evening. The small living room was immaculate, but the atmosphere was heavy with sadness. Ukeme sat on the couch, her usually elegant braids messy and undone. I brought your favorite, Kiya announced, holding up a bag of plantain chips and kunu drink. Ukeme managed a weak smile. Thank you, baby sister. Kiya sat beside her sister, pulling her into a tight hug. Has Felix said anything about his mother's behavior? Ukeme wiped her eyes with the edge of her wrapper. He keeps saying she means well, that I should be patient. Patient? It's been 2 years of pure torture, Kiya. 2 years. You should have listened to me when I warned you about marrying into that family, Kiya couldn't help saying. Kiya, not everyone's mother-in-law is like Mama Felix. Look at her own mother. She was the sweetest mother-in-law to her sister-in-law before she passed. Well, our mother was special, Kiya said softly, remembering their mother who had died 5 years ago. But these days, these mothers-in-law are something else. Just last week, my friend Blessing told me how her mother-in-law accused her of using juju on her son because he bought her a car. The sisters spent the evening sharing stories and memories, but Kiya's heart grew heavier with each tale of her sister's suffering. By the time she left Ukeme's house, her resolve had strengthened even further. At university the next day, Kiya's friends gathered around her usual spot under the big mango tree during lunch break. As always, the topic turned to relationships. You won't believe who asked me out yesterday, Ada announced excitedly. Remember that fine boy from engineering, the one with the Range Rover? Before anyone could respond, Kiya cut in. Is his mother alive? The group groaned in unison. Not this again, Kiya. What? I'm looking out for my friends. Kiya defended herself. Ada, don't say I didn't warn you. Ask about his mother first, oh. You are taking this too far, Grace, another friend, said gently. My mother-in-law is the sweetest woman I know. She even teaches me her special soup recipes. Well, she's the exception to the rule, Kiya dismissed with a wave. Grace, you are just lucky. Very, very lucky. As her friends debated around her, Kiya pulled out her phone to check on Ukeme. Another message, another story of harassment from Mama Felix. Kiya's jaw tightened as she read about how the woman had invited the entire extended family to pray for Ukeme's barrenness, despite knowing about the planned family planning. You all think I'm joking, Kiya announced to her friends, holding up her phone. Look at what my sister is going through. I would rather die single than end up with a mother-in-law like that. But Kiya, Chioma, the quiet one in their group, spoke up. What if you meet someone special? Someone who makes your heart beat faster? Someone who treats you like a queen? Would you really reject him just because his mother is alive? Kiya stood up, gathering her books dramatically. Watch me. In fact, I'll make it even easier. I won't date them. No mother-in-law, no drama. As she walked away, her friends exchanged worried glances. They knew Kiya was stubborn, but this was extreme, even for her. What they didn't know was that fate had other plans that would begin to unfold the very next day in the most unexpected way. The morning that changed Kiya's life forever started like any other. She was running late for her financial accounting class, practically flying down the university corridor, her braids bouncing with each hurried step. Her arms were full of books, and she was mentally rehearsing excuses that she would give to her lecturer. Sorry, sir, it was Lagos traffic. Very terrible. No, he would believe that one. Maybe I should say my alarm didn't. The next thing was Kiya crashing into a stranger. Her book went flying, papers scattered everywhere, and she found herself falling. But instead of hitting the hard floor, strong arms caught her. Careful there, a deep voice said, laughing softly. Are you okay? Kiya looked up, ready to snap at whoever had gotten in her way, but the words died in her throat. She found herself staring into the kindest brown eyes she had ever seen. The owner of those eyes was still holding her, and he was breathtakingly handsome. Yes. No, look at my books, she stammered, quickly straightening up. The stranger immediately bent down to help her gather her scattered belongings. I'm really sorry about that. I should have been watching where I was going. He flashed her a smile that made her heart do a little dance. I'm Jude, by the way. Jude Okonkwo. Kiya, she replied, trying to ignore the butterflies in her stomach. Kiya, Larry. As they picked up the last of her papers, their hands touched briefly, sending an unexpected tingle through Kiya's fingers. She pulled back quickly, suddenly remembering her list of questions. But before she could ask anything, Jude spoke again. Let me make this up to you. There's this new restaurant just outside your campus. They say their jollof rice is to die for. Maybe we could. I have class, Kiya blurted, clutching her recovered books to her chest. She turned and practically ran down the corridor, leaving a bemused Jude staring after her. Throughout her lecture, Kiya couldn't concentrate. Instead of balance sheets and profit margins, all she could think about was Jude's smile and those kind eyes. She found herself drawing little hearts in her notebook margins, then angrily crossing them out. This is ridiculous, she muttered to herself. I don't even know if his mother is. She stopped mid-thought, horrified to realize that for the first time, she hadn't immediately asked her standard question. After class, she was still distracted when Juliet found her at their usual lunch spot. Come back to earth, Kiya. Juliet waved her hand in front of Kiya's face. What's wrong with you today? You look like you've seen a ghost. It's worse, Kiya groaned. I met a guy. Really? Tell me everything. Is he cute? What's his name? Did you ask about his mother? His name is Jude. And no, I didn't ask about his mother, Kiya admitted miserably. I ran away before I could ask anything. You? Ran away? The great Kiya Lanre, queen of interrogating potential suitors, ran away from a guy? He must be really special. He's not special, Kiya protested. He's just different. The way he smiled and his eyes. Kiya caught herself and straightened up. But it doesn't matter. I'm not even interested. Oh, sure you are not. That's why you're blushing just talking about him, Juliet teased. Before Kiya could deny it, her phone buzzed. It was a Facebook friend request from Jude Okonkwo. Her heart did another little flip. How did he find me so fast? She wondered aloud. Because you're still holding the paper where you wrote your full name for him to see. Or did you not tell him your name? Juliet pointed out, giggling. Kiya looked down at her notebook and groaned. And she remembered that she indeed told Jude her full name. Against her better judgment, she accepted his friend request. Within minutes, a message popped up. So, about that jollof rice, still interested? I promise not to crash into you this time. Kiya found herself smiling at her phone. Maybe just one plate, she thought, just to be polite. Then I'll ask about his mother and end it. But one plate led to another and another. Soon, Kiya found herself spending more and more time with Jude. He was different from any man she had ever met. He listened when she talked, really listened. He remembered little details about her likes and dislikes. He made her laugh with his terrible jokes and touched her heart with his kindness to others. Weeks turned into months, and still, Kiya hadn't asked the question. Every time she tried, something stopped her. Maybe it was the way Jude surprised her with her favorite snacks when she was studying late, or how he held her hand during thunderstorms because he remembered she mentioned being afraid of them. Or perhaps it was the way he defended a street vendor from some troublemakers, showing both courage and compassion. One evening, as they sat on a bench in the university garden, Jude turned to her with serious eyes. Kiya, there's something I need to tell you, he said. Her heart stopped. This was it. He was going to tell her about his mother. But instead, he said something else entirely. I think I'm falling in love with you. The world seemed to stop spinning for a moment. Kiya looked into those kind brown eyes and realized with a mixture of joy and terror that she was falling in love too. For the first time in her life, she didn't want to know about his mother. She didn't want anything to ruin this perfect moment. That night changed everything. Their relationship deepened, and Kiya found herself breaking all her own rules. She stopped asking her usual questions. She ignored her friends' curious looks when they noticed she hadn't done her usual background check. She even muted her sister's messages about mother-in-law troubles, not wanting anything to burst her happy bubble. But fate had other plans. 2 months later, Kiya sat on her bathroom floor, staring at a pregnancy test with 2 clear lines. Her hands shook as she took out her phone to call Jude. "We need to talk," she texted, her heart pounding. "It's important." As she waited for his reply, she suddenly realized with horror that in all these months, she didn't know about his mother. Now, it might be too late to run. Kiya's hands trembled as she sat in Jude's car outside her apartment complex. She had just told him about the pregnancy, and the silence that followed was deafening. "Please say something," she whispered, clutching her handbag so tight her knuckles turned white. Jude turned to her, and to her surprise, a slow smile spread across his face. "I know this wasn't planned," he said softly, "but Kiya, I really love you. We'll figure this out together." Relief flooded through her, but it was short-lived. Jude wasn't finished. "We should get married, and I want you to meet my family, especially my mother. She's going to be so excited about becoming a grandmother." The word "mother" hit Kiya like a bucket of cold water. Your mother?" "Yes. She's been asking to meet you for months. I've been telling her how amazing you are." Jude beamed, completely missing the horror spreading across Kiya's face. "She's already in town, staying at my house. We could go there now if you'd like." Kiya felt the world spinning. All this time, she had been dating and was now pregnant for a man whose mother was very much alive, the very thing she had sworn never to do. I need to use the bathroom," she mumbled, practically falling out of the car. She ran up to her apartment, ignoring Jude's concerned calls. Once inside, she called Juliet in panic. "Juliet, his mother is alive, and I'm pregnant," she screamed into the phone. "Wait, what?" Juliet's voice cracked through the speaker. "You mean after all these months, you never asked?" "I was stupid. I got carried away. What am I going to do?" Kiya said, pacing her living room, clutching her stomach with her free hand. "Maybe I should..." "Don't even think about it," Juliet cut in sharply, knowing where her friend's thoughts were heading. "Remember what happened to your cousin Ada after her abortion? Besides, you've always said you would never do that." Kiya slumped onto her sofa. "But Juliet, you don't understand. A mother-in-law. I'll end up just like Ukeme, my sister. Or you could end up like Grace, with a wonderful mother-in-law who treats her like a daughter," Juliet reasoned. "You haven't even met the woman yet, Kiya." A knock on the door made Kiya jump. "He's here. I have to go," Kiya whispered into the phone. She opened the door to find a worried-looking Jude. "Are you okay? You ran off so suddenly." "I'm fine," she lied, then took a deep breath. "Actually, no, I'm not fine. Jude, we need to talk about your mother." Over the next hour, Kiya finally told Jude everything about Ukeme's suffering, about how she vowed never to marry a man with a living mother, about her fears. To her surprise, Jude listened without interrupting, his face showing understanding rather than judgment. "I get it now. But Kiya, my mother isn't like that. Give her a chance. For me? For us? Looking into his pleading eyes, Kiya felt her resolve weakening. What choice did she have anyway? She was carrying his child. The meeting with Jude's mother was set for the following day. Kiya spent hours choosing her outfit, finally settling on a conservative Ankara dress that her sister had made. Look strong, she told her reflection. Don't let her intimidate you. Mama Jude was waiting in Jude's living room when they arrived. She was a tall, elegant woman in her early 60s, wearing a perfectly tailored lace buba and wrapper. Her face lit up when they entered. "So, this is the famous Kiya," she exclaimed, moving to hug her. Kiya stiffened, stepping back slightly. "Good afternoon, ma," she said formally, giving a slight bow instead. Mama Jude's smile faltered for a moment, but she recovered quickly. "Please, sit down. I made moi moi. Jude said it's your favorite." "How did you know?" Kiya asked suspiciously. "Oh, my son talks about you all the time." "I feel like I already know you," Mama Jude replied warmly. Throughout the evening, Mama Jude tried to engage Kiya in conversation, but Kiya remained defensive, giving short, sometimes borderline rude responses. When Mama Jude asked about her family, Kiya mentioned Ukeme, but quickly changed the subject. After announcing their pregnancy and marriage plans, things got worse. Mama Jude's excitement about the baby made Kiya even more suspicious. Every suggestion about the wedding or the baby was met with resistance. "We could have the wedding at our family house in the village. It has a lot of space that we could use for reception," Mama Jude suggested. "I prefer here in town," Kiya responded curtly. "I know some excellent traditional birth attendants that could help you manage your morning sickness and pregnancy." "No, thank you, ma. I'm using a hospital." "It's alright. Since your mother, may her soul rest in peace, is no longer here, I could move in temporarily after the baby comes to help with the baby, since it's your first time and you need all the help and care you can get." "Absolutely not!" The tension in the room could have been cut with a knife. Jude kept looking between his mother and his fiancé, helplessly trying to smooth things over. The weeks that followed were a battlefield. Every interaction between Kiya and Mama Jude was filled with underlying tension. Kiya interpreted every gesture, every word, as a potential threat. When Mama Jude brought over some traditional herbs for her morning sickness, Kiya accused her of trying to harm the baby. When she suggested some changes to the wedding plans, Kiya saw it as an attempt to control everything. Mama Jude, hurt by Kiya's constant hostility, began responding in kind. She made comments like, "All these city girls who don't respect traditions, I wonder who trained them." She stopped bringing food when she visited. She also started calling Jude daily, asking why his wife-to-be was so disrespectful. "Is that how your precious Kiya behaves? Doesn't she come from a proper home? By the way, who trained her? Because she doesn't behave like someone that was trained by her mother," Jude's mother would ask. Poor Jude found himself in the middle, trying to keep peace between the two most important women in his life. The stress began showing on his face, but neither woman seemed to notice, too caught up in their war of words and wills. Kiya, who was now staying mostly at Jude's house, was on guard, convinced that Jude's mother was waiting to pounce on her like a predator on its prey. But that won't happen. Not if my name is still Kiya. I need to show her who is in charge now, and not after the wedding. She will want to exert authority where she has no right, Kiya said to herself. Jude's mother, on the other hand, was baffled by Kiya's hostility. She had welcomed Kiya into the family with open arms, only to be met with cold indifference and sharp remarks, but she was not going to give up on her. "Good morning, Kiya," Jude's mother greeted her cheerfully one morning. "Morning," Kiya mumbled, brushing past her. Jude's mother raised an eyebrow. Is this how they greet elders where you come from?" She muttered under her breath, but Kiya did not even bother to respond. Their relationship quickly spiraled into petty quarrels. If Kiya cooked jollof rice, Jude's mother would criticize the seasoning. If Jude's mother rearranged the living room, Kiya would move everything back. The situation came to a head during a dinner at Jude's house. Mama Jude had prepared egusi soup, and Kiya refused to eat it. "How do I know what you put in it?" she asked pointedly. Mama Jude slammed her spoon down. "That's enough. I have tried to be patient, but you are impossible. What have I ever done to deserve such treatment?" "I know what you people are like," Kiya shot back. "You start nice, then show your true colors after the wedding. Well, I won't let you treat me like my sister's mother-in-law treats her." "I am not your sister's mother-in-law," Mama Jude shouted, tears in her eyes. "I have tried everything to welcome you into my family, but you've built walls so high, no one can reach you. I am only protecting myself from emotional blackmail and depression. I know what I'm fighting against, and no one can deter me from making sure that I don't let history repeat itself," Kiya responded. "Really? Have you been married before? Or have you had so many relationships that you have been emotionally blackmailed and depressed? Kiya?" "Mama, just leave me alone. I don't have to be in many relationships to know a potential danger when I see one." "That's enough, Kiya. I don't see what my mother has done wrong here. She only cooked for us and asked that you come and eat. What was her offense?" Jude asked, getting pissed off at the way things were turning out. The argument that night ended with Kiya storming out, ignoring both Jude's pleas to stay and Mama Jude's tears. She was 7 months pregnant now, her belly showing prominently under her dress as she walked angrily to the gate to call a taxi. That night, alone in her apartment, Kiya felt the first sharp pain. She ignored it, attributing it to stress. But by midnight, the pain had become unbearable, and she noticed spotting. Panic seized her as she recalled her doctor's warnings about staying calm during pregnancy. Her hands shaking, she called Jude. But no, his phone was switched off. She tried again and again, still nothing. In desperation, she called Juliet, who promised to come immediately, but was at least an hour away because she lives on the other side of town. Another wave of pain hit her, stronger this time. Kiya called up on her bed, tears streaming down her face. "Please, baby, please be okay," she whispered, rubbing her belly. Then her phone rang. It was Mama Jude. Kiya almost didn't answer, but another sharp pain made her decision for her. "Hello," she whimpered. "Kiya, I've been trying to reach Jude. His phone is off, and I had this strange feeling. Mama Jude's voice trailed off as she heard Kiya's sob. What's wrong? The baby. Something is wrong. I'm bleeding. Don't move. I'm coming right away. The authority in Mama Jude's voice was oddly comforting. I'm only 10 minutes away. Please, just wait for me. Those 10 minutes felt like hours, but true to her word, Mama Jude arrived quickly. She took one look at Kiya and sprang into action, helping her to the car and driving straight to the hospital. In the emergency room, while doctors examined Kiya, Mama Jude held her hand. When Kiya tried to pull away, the older woman tightened her grip. Listen to me, she said firmly. I know you hate me. I know you are scared of becoming like your sister. But right now, none of that matters. What matters is my grandchild and you. So please, let me help you. Something in her voice and the genuine concern in her eyes broke through Kiya's defenses. She burst into tears, clinging to Mama Jude's hand as the doctors worked. Hours later, the crisis had passed. The doctors said Kiya and the baby were stable, but stressed the importance of avoiding emotional upheaval. As she lay in the hospital bed, Kiya watched Mama Jude efficiently managing everything and calling Jude, whose phone initially had died when he went after Kiya to stop her from leaving, and then eventually driving to a karaoke bar to reset his head that was already spinning. Jude's mother also arranged for a specialist consultation, even getting Kiya's favorite soup from a nearby restaurant. Why are you being so nice to me? Kiya finally asked. After how I've treated you. Mama Jude sat beside the bed, her face soft with understanding. Because you are carrying my grandchild? Because my son loves you? Yes, but more than that, because I see myself in you. What do you mean? I was just like you when I married Jude's father. My own mother-in-law was terrible to me. She made my life miserable for years. I swore that if I ever had a daughter-in-law, I would never treat her that way. Kiya stared at her, speechless. The cycle of pain stops somewhere, Kiya. Your sister's situation is sad, but it doesn't have to be your story. You can choose to trust, to break the cycle. When Jude arrived later in the morning, breathless and worried, he found his mother and fiancé talking quietly, really talking for the first time. The sight brought tears to his eyes. I'm so sorry. I didn't know my phone battery was low. When I tried to call you much later, I realized that my phone was off. I immediately got home to charge it, and that was when my mother called and told me everything that had happened. I hope you are okay. Yes, dear, I'm okay. I'm sorry too about the way I stormed out of the house. It was uncalled for, and I'm truly sorry. It's alright. One day, you will get to find out that I have the sweetest mother on earth, Jude said as he glanced to his mother, who beamed with a smile. The following weeks brought gradual change. Kiya began opening up, sharing her fears instead of letting them control her. Mama Jude proved to be a wealth of knowledge about pregnancy and children, sharing tips that actually helped with Kiya's morning sickness, which she was still having even at 7 months. One Sunday afternoon, Kiya invited both Mama Jude and Ukeme to her apartment. As the two women shared their experiences, Ukeme's eyes widened at how different their situations were. I wish Mama Felix was like you, Ukeme said wistfully to Mama Jude. Your situation isn't hopeless, my dear. Would you like me to talk to your mother-in-law? Sometimes, these things need an elder's intervention. To everyone's surprise, Mama Jude's intervention with Mama Felix actually helped. Her status as an elder and her diplomatic approach opened doors that had seemed permanently closed. While things didn't change overnight, small improvements began to show in Ukeme's situation. The wedding plan became a joint effort, with Kiya learning to appreciate Mama Jude's experience while maintaining her own preferences. They found middle ground, a wedding in town with traditional elements, a compromise on customs that respected both old and new. On her wedding day, as Mama Jude helped adjust her gele, Kiya finally said what had been in her heart. "Thank you, Mama." Mama Jude's eyes filled with tears. "Welcome to the family, my daughter." 4 months later, when Kiya gave birth, it was a baby girl. It was Mama Jude who stayed with her in the hospital, showing her how to breastfeed and care for her like a mother would. One evening, as Kiya watched Mama Jude singing a lullaby to her baby, Juliet visited. "Remember your famous list?" Juliet teased her. "The one about never marrying a man with a living mother?" Kiya smiled, watching her mother-in-law with her new baby. Sometimes, the things we fear the most turn out to be unexpected blessings. I didn't just gain a mother-in-law, I gained a second mother. Looking at her sleeping baby, her supportive husband, and her loving mother-in-law, Kiya realized that sometimes the best things in life come from having to face our biggest fears and letting love win. From that day on, their relationship blossomed. Kiya and Mama Jude became inseparable, bonding over shared meals, baby shopping, and long conversations. Even Jude began to joke that he was jealous of their newfound relationship. "Am I still your husband, or have you replaced me with my mom?" he teased one evening. Kiya laughed. "Don't be jealous, my love. Your mom is the best in this entire world." They all laughed as they munched on the roasted corn and pear Jude brought to them on the veranda. Kiya's journey taught her a powerful lesson, which is that it's unfair to judge people based on someone else's mistakes. Not every mother-in-law is out to make life difficult. Just like daughters-in-law, they are individuals with their own personalities, flaws, and strengths. In the end, Kiya realized that love, understanding, and forgiveness could build bridges where there was once walls. And sometimes, the people we least expect can become our greatest allies. Thank you so much for watching today's story. I hope you like it. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. It would mean a lot to me. Until I come your way again soon, stay happy.